All right, welcome back to the Outdoor Drive Podcast. This is your friend and family East Coast Trev, and
This is Steve.
it's just Steve.
Just
Now we're
Steve.
Steve.
Yeah,
Oh,
just Steve.
we can't say Outdoor Drive Steve.
I mean, you can say outdoor drive Steve if you want, but
The ODD Steve.
at the end of the day, I'm just Steve. I'm not a Steve Moeller. I'm not a Steve whoever. I'm just Steve.
Oh man, it's upsetting.
Well, let's face it. I will never have the personality of Steve Emo. So
No,
it's just one of those things.
you're a way better hunter. Way better hunter.
I'm not going to agree, but I won't disagree.
Okay.
just
Whatever you want.
because I have high hopes for Steve this year.
High hopes for Steve.
Yeah, high hopes for
Okay.
Steve.
All right.
Stevie Mo's getting the 150 this year. It's gonna
All
happen.
right. We're having a make a wish for Stevie.
Austin
he's gonna
Chandler's
wish
gonna
he-
go tie one to the tree for him.
That's it. He's gonna wish he shot a 150. So, anyways, oh man, what's up, Steve?
Chilling, man. Chilling.
Yeah, I
Trying
hear
to
that.
keep up with the world.
Don't bother. Don't fucking bother.
Yeah, you're right. I'm lying. I don't give a shit about it. It's burning. Let it burn.
Yeah, I just kind of went on and just started doing everything I need to do, and then we worry about that other stuff later.
Yep. Got a house over my head. Got food on the table. Things are going well, and seasons are coming up. So
I know, man. I talk about seasons real quick. Things have been just out of control. I mean, the trail cam pictures that I'm getting back are just fucking phenomenal. The fishing is incredible.
we got to go into that a little bit in a bit.
Why?
Because
Everyone
you guys
already knows.
you and Ghost, you gotta at least tell that story.
We caught a fish.
And you got a fucking giant.
That we did.
So
We ended up catching an 85 incher, which is my biggest tuna to date, Ghost's biggest tuna to date. So it's not Captain Mike's. This is a different Captain Mike. This is tuna Captain Mike. His biggest is 106.
Jesus.
Yeah, fucking nuts, right?
Holy crap.
And it's funny is, I got to talking with Mike, when we were waiting for the buyer to come and pick up the tuna, and it's incredible where he started and what he's become in the time that he's done it. So he started commercial fishing in 2008, and he just one day this is kind of his story, but I'll kind of tell it. Kind of, don't take it for word, but so he was out in the bay of Cape Cod and saw giant bluefin tuna jumping and was like, I want to catch one of those. So that's what he tried doing. And first he started off with a Penn 320, a GT Penn 320i, which is just tiny little. We use them for striped bass and shit. And that's where he started to now being, a very well-known tuna captain up north. And catching giant fucking bluefin tuna. Very phenomenal captain, knows his shit, does very well. And we've had the chance to fish with him now. I killed both of my tunas with him, and Ghost was with us this time, but it was awesome. So we headed out. When we go tuna fishing, we leave here at midnight. It's about a 3-hour ride up north. We launch the boat and then we start headed out to the spot. So where we go is about 50 miles off the Cape, to a spot up there that's got fish in it. So that's where we go.
Well said.
But no, how it works is we start catching bait right off the bat. So we got to find the mackerel or herring or whatever we can for bait. Normally, it holds at different depths, and then we head out to the spot. So we had gotten out to the spot. For about an hour, we had 2 rods on balloons kind of floating, and then one kind of down a little bit deeper, probably like 50 to 75 feet down. Well, our good friend, my good friend, Danny the Duck Man from Ducks on the Bay, he had caught two big fish on Thursday and Sunday. And he was telling me, he said, go all the way to the bottom and keep it down at the bottom. There's a lot of big fish down there. We're like, all right, cool. Sounds good. So I had told the guys, and I'm like, hey, man, one of my buddies, he told me, dude, do this, and that's how you're going to catch the fish. And they kind of looked at me and like, yeah, if you want a shark. I'm like, all right, whatever. You guys do what you're going to do. So a little bit of time goes by, and the guys get on the radio, all the way to the bottom, all the way to the bottom, got a fish, all the way to the bottom, got a fish. So I look at the guys and go, we're going to go all the way to the bottom? Yeah, we're going to go all the way to the bottom. So we send the bait all the way to the bottom. We mark a fish on the bottom. Not even 2 minutes later, fish on. So it was fucking badass. Mike got on the rod at first, was fighting it. I got my glove on. And then I started fighting the fish, and I fighted the fish for quite some time. And then Ghost got on the rod for a while, and then we kind of went back and forth, back and forth. And I got the best run of them all, though. We got a video coming out on that very soon here, but it was fucking intense. So this thing ends up getting to the side of the boat, and Ghost was on the rod, and they handed me the harpoon. Now I've never harpooned a bluefin, so I was a little fucking nervous. Now, and mind you, it's a money fish, so we're up there commercial bluefin tuna fishing, so everything's for money. So it's a little high. The
little bit of pressure.
Oh, just a fucking little bit. So this big fish, dude, does everything that he's supposed to do, man. Took perfect runs. It pinwheeled. You can see deep color. Finally, we get him up. He's pinwheeling, and he just turns himself completely broadside. He's right there, dude, just looking for the shot. And they're like, hit him. So I hit him with the fucking harpoon, and it was a perfect shot. We were able to tail rope him and everything. Got him to the boat, and then for you guys that don't know, you have to swim them for like an hour and a half, because bluefin tuna are they are warm blooded. So they actually, when you see like on Wicked Tuna and stuff where they say, you know, that you burnt the core or whatever the case may be, that's because they work themselves up and they get too hot and then you kill them. So you have to actually swim them. And our good friends at LT Marine, Chris over there, he makes a swim hook. And what that is it goes through the bottom jaw and it holds the fish out, and he just swims and he comes back to life. And then his body temperature comes down. Then you pull him in, you bleed him out and kill him, and then bring him inside the boat. So that's how you don't burn the fish. So it was badass. Then we came in, and the truck showed up from North Atlantic, which is the same dude from Wicked Tuna. So we got to meet him and hang out with him, and then he ended up buying the fish, and it had dressed out. Oh fuck! I'm gonna have to look it up. So it was 85 inches, and he dressed out at. Give me 2 seconds here. I'm just trying to figure out this weight. Oh, right here. He dressed out at. I know. I'm sorry. 226 pounds. That's without head and tail, no guts. So it was 226 pounds.
Jeez.
He dressed out at. So
is
pretty
that
cool.
all?
Yeah. So I would put him. He's gonna be over 300, almost 4, said and done.
Good night, man.
Yeah.
You caught a fish that weighed more than the bear that I shot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's over fucking 7 feet tall too. 85 inches. It was incredible, dude, and especially to spend it with Ghost, man. You know, it was cool, and that was his biggest fish, and we were pumped. The camaraderie was great. I mean, we ended up going off haddock and cod fishing for a while. Then we came home, and yeah, I mean, we didn't get home until I didn't get home until like 11:30 the next night. So I had been up 24 hours and fighting a fish. And I'll tell you, it's everything that you got in it, you got to give it to it. One crank in is a mile taken off on the line. So it's something else. It was cool. 2020 has been probably one of the best years of my life. I'm not going to lie. It's
you guys have been sticking it. Yeah. Of all the things in the world, nobody is saying 2020 is the best year of their life. And here you are.
Man. Yeah, I mean, the big threshers, the tuna, and a lot of guys are like, oh, you're killing it this year. And it's like, yeah, I would kill it normal years, but I'm at fucking work. It sucks being stuck on a boat. And I with just having the leniency that I have working with Captain Seth this year is really just been able to put me out and fish as much as I can. So it's been a blessing.
Dude, stoked for you.
Hell yeah, man.
You sent that over. I was like, dude, that's the equivalent of shooting a 180-inch buck all day long. It is,
for sure.
I think just to put it into perspective, that is the equivalent of fishing a 180-inch buck out of the woods. in Connecticut or Virginia.
Yeah. I'd say like 200 incher, but yeah.
Well, yeah, comparatively, I guess you'd be closer there.
Stupid. It's just crazy, man. But anyways, so you're planning on coming up this weekend, and hopefully we can get on some big bass. And
yeah, man, we're going to be on the road early Friday and heading up that way. And we're going to see what this thing's all about. Get the wife out of the house. I know she's going stir crazy, and I am. And
so we've actually, I didn't even tell you this. I might as well just tell you on the podcast is me and Ghost have planned to take you and Kim out to Block Island on Friday. So you guys are going to the mecca of all meccas for giant striped bass, like 50 pounders galore. So
I'm all about it.
Yeah, so we're gonna get out there. We'll black sea bass fish for a couple hours, and then we'll get into the striped bass. So we'll have a good trip.
We just, frankly, we're just looking forward to catching up, getting to hang out and bullshit again, and ultimately see what it is that you guys do and what you guys talk about, because this is going to be our real first trip doing this for big fish. You know, we've done it down here on the Chesapeake, and we've caught some stripes and things like that, and it's okay, but it's not to the level that you guys pull off up there.
Yeah.
You know, down here, it's like, you know, you get you pay to come out. Oh, look, you caught a fish. Congratulations.
No.
I want to go catch my personal best.
Oh, yeah. We're going to do it for sure. We're going to the mecca of all meccas. So.
Hell yeah. Cool. We can't wait, man.
Yeah, we're super excited. So Steven, why don't you just serenade everybody with your beautiful radio voice and let everybody know who the partners are that we work with.
I don't even have my list in front of me.
Not my problem.
Oh, you're killing me, dude. You're killing me. This is paybacks for last week. Okay. Well, I'm going completely off the top of the head, so I will miss a few, and Trev's going to have to fill in. Just to warn you guys.
I got you.
But first, I want to lead it off with my girl Jill over there at Wicked Twisted Bowstrings. If you guys did not see that last post of her first bow fishing rig that she set a string on, that thing was dope as shit. Glow in the dark, high vibrant colors. That thing was awesome. And check her out. She can make your stuff, custom colors, anything you want. I mean, that particular string really shows you her ability. And she's also got multiple variants. So she can do CBY, not CBD.
BCY.
Yeah, BCY. Exactly. That's why I asked. And she's also got the Bloodline series. So you don't have to wax them. They're self-contained. They maintain themselves. And it'll be really cool to see what those things are going to do, because while we're up in CT, I'm going to stop by and pick up the one she's building for me. And it's going to be badass, because trust me, I need it. My string is shot. That being said, I'm going to jump over to Nor'easter Game Calls. We're going to check out Mark. You guys need to take a good look at some of his latest work on these Burlwood grunt calls. The new series he's got coming is insane. So, Nor'easter Game Calls, check him out. Get your bloodlines as soon as they come on the market, because they're going to go quick. Also, we got to hit up our boy Scott over at Broadside Camo. I've got my Closer Series hoodie coming in, the saddle hoodie, as well as he's got the Ascender series, and he's got the Ascender bibs. He's got pretty much the ultimate photorealism hunting system for all of your different aerial hunting situations. And I can't impress upon you enough, after doing this video work, testing some of the different things people were wondering about. This stuff is insane. So if you're not going to go digital and you want to go photorealism, check out Broadside Camo, broadsidecamo.com. And for $45 spent, you get a free gift if you use the promo code Outdoor Drive. All right, who's next? We are going to go with our boy Drew over at Wild Edge Inc. Big supporter, main supporter, and can't thank him enough. anything you need in your mobile hunting game, whether it's the steps, the aiders, the swaders, it's your, Trev, back me up on this one. Your,
Perch.
well, you got the perch. I'm thinking of your, wow, I just had a complete brain fart. Instead of using a knot.
Use a Kong duck.
Thank you. That's the word I was looking for. I was thinking gorilla, but I was like, gorilla is not the word. It is Kong. So get your Kongs, get anything you need for your mobile hunting setup. And you can check him out over at wildedging.com. Out on a Limb Manufacturing. That's out on a limb mfg.com for all of your climbing needs, your sticks, your different platforms. And Trev, give me some backup here. Camera arms. Thank you. As you guys can tell, I'm on a complete brain fart because for once I don't have my list in front of me.
I love it.
You're killing me. You're doing this on purpose. I know it. All right. So you got Out on a Limb. Make sure you check him out. Also, a big supporter of the show, we've got Bow Fishing Magazine, your online bow fishing magazine. It's going to give you everything you need and all the information of what's going on and what's in the world of bow fishing. Check them out. Mob Squad Outdoors. Can't thank them enough. Great people. Check them out. And let's see. Next on the list is Trev, fill me in.
D&M Custom Arrows. Gary Hall.
The ginger.
DNMCustomArrows.com.
See, I was waiting on a voicemail to lead that one off, but you failed me again.
I know. He's been failing us on voicemails lately.
Yeah, well, I think we need to jump on him and get that up. And I look forward to hopefully going over and door ditching him while we're up in CT.
Oh, we might have to.
Yeah,
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, just a straight up door ditch. Yep. And kind of give him a good time there. But follow along with him. Talk about probably one of the most profound traditional arrow builders you will ever come across, as well as any custom arrow you want to get built. He can pretty much do it. And he's got a lot of big stuff coming down. So stay tuned, pay attention when this thing finally drops. I know we've talked about this in the past and we've kind of preached it, but there's something really big coming. And when it happens, we will be the first to tell you where to go check it out. And that's all I got to say about that.
Also, rackrage.com.
Rack Rage. Thank you. See, if I didn't have the list, I would be failing everybody right now.
No, you're good.
And seeing it's because of Rack Rage that you've got me doing this.
That's it.
Yeah. So you killed me last week because I covered down for you. So in true fashion, for all your men's and women's apparel needs, get your old lady that tank top. Get yourself that wife beater, that nice t-shirt, everything ready to go to get you out in the woods. Represent rackrage.com. They got all the apparel you need. Check them out.
And I can't stress it enough, nor'eastergamecalls.com. If you guys have not checked them out yet, go and check them out. Instagram, Facebook, so on and so forth for your grunt tubes. The season is around the corner. There is going to be a limited run on the new Burrow Woods. And they're actually very cheap considering. I did talk to Marky Mark last night, and for what they are, it's very, very cheap. It's actually it's an endangered wood, I believe, that he's using. So you actually can't, I believe you can't even buy it. So whatever's on the market is on the market. So they're no longer killing them anymore, those trees anymore. So it's going to be one of a kind. I think there's going to be about a dozen of them. So if you guys want them, make sure you stay tuned to either the podcast or his Instagram or Facebook, because they will sell out quickly. I put in my pre-order for mine. So, and not even that, with his burrow wood is the ivory ones. So the ivory ones are also going to come out this season. He's going to have a limited run of them also. So stay tuned to that. So.
Well done. Thanks for the cover.
No problem, buddy. But I just wanted to.
Did we forget anyone else?
No.
Just to make sure.
No. Nope.
All right.
No, I think we're good.
Yeah, well, that's a matter of opinion, but if you say so.
Well, go and get your Zeus broadheads.
Oh, yes. Can't forget Zeus.
That's why I love Zeus. I love me
No,
my Zeus.
we are not officially partnered. We are not sponsored. We are not covered down by them. But I will tell you right now, we are firm believers, 100% in Zeus broadheads. Nick has created one of the most devastating things on the market, and I can't tell you enough. Go check them out.
Hell yeah.
Well,
Cool.
what do you think?
I think I hear something.
I think you're right. Why don't we take a moment, take a breath, and let's turn this thing over to Mike, because it sounds like we got news for your cruise coming in the speakers.
Hey everyone, Mike here with some news for your cruise. Let's jump right into this with another state coming on board with an online bow hunter education course. This time it's Vermont. The website is www.bowhunter-ed.com/Vermont. There's an online portion and what's called a home study class. The home study class you can sign up for once you've completed the online portion. You can sign up through Vermont Fish and Wildlife Department's website. The home study class is scheduled for 4 to 6 hours. It's going to include a classroom session, outdoor shooting, blood trailing, demonstrations on tree stand safety, and also survival skills. I don't know if I touched on this last week, but Connecticut is similar. You also are required through Connecticut's online bow hunter class to register for a field day as well once you've completed the online portion. One difference with Vermont I'm seeing so far is that there is no fee for doing the online course, which is fantastic. So good news that more of these states are coming on board with these online classes, making it more readily available because the in-person classes tend to fill up rather quickly. Now let's head down to Alabama, where Alabama has now added language to the prohibited methods and devices for hunting regulations to clarify that the use of turkey decoys for practices such as fanning or reaping are and have been illegal. This is added language clarifying what was already illegal. The language actually states, it shall be unlawful for any person while engaged in turkey hunting in the state to use or have in his possession a decoy which has mechanical or electronic parts which makes the decoy capable of movement or producing sound, or which can be manipulated to produce movement or sounds. Mechanical parts include, but are not limited to, decoys attached to weapons or handheld and manipulated to produce movement such as fanning or reaping. It is further provided, however, that no turkey decoys shall be lawful except during the spring turkey season in the state. So while already illegal, they have clarified some of the language there to not allow reaping or fanning, which is becoming a popular topic amongst a lot of states. So now let's turn to some sheep news. I know I'm not talking politics. Let's go to Idaho, where a record amount of money was raised for the bighorn sheep population. That's thanks to 1,500 hunters and over 19,000 entries for a once-in-a-lifetime bighorn sheep tag. Resulted in a gross amount of $212,000, according to Jim Warner, president of the Idaho Wild Sheep Foundation. This means that $185,000 will be returned to the state for projects aimed at monitoring disease and improving bighorn sheep habitat. Funds will help Idaho's dwindling bighorn sheep populations that have been impacted by disease and habitat loss. Great news for the sheep, and just a great example of what Hunters Funding does for great conservation efforts. And now to Montana, where last week the Montana Fish and Wildlife Commission unanimously approved the recovery plan put together by Montana Fish, Wildlife, and Parks, which would reintroduce bighorn sheep to the Little Belt Mountains. The population in the Little Belt was decimated in the early 1900s, and a 1962 transplant of 18 sheep ultimately failed. This plan calls for establishment of about 125 bighorn sheep with a goal of forming some sort of connectivity between herds in the mountain range. The plan could return a historic herd to the mountain range as soon as this December, now that the decision has been made. As always, if you have any news, please send it to me. I've had a couple of things trickling in, which is great. You can reach out to me on Facebook at Mike Salter or on Instagram at bearded_bowhunter21. And with that, enjoy the rest of your ride.
I know this has been a kind of a long intro, but there's been a lot of things to be talked about.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's been worthwhile. Like I said, killing back, talking about the tuna and getting some of all the other stuff you had going on and all the other craziness. Kind of got to touch base, let everyone know what's going on. So,
Hell yeah. Big things coming. Season's almost around the corner, guys. Get your cameras out. Get your reps in for bow season. Go through your gear. Make sure everything's all ready to go.
You mean I have to practice before I hunt?
Yeah, well, I think it's a good idea. Most people don't or won't, but...
You're killing me. I thought you could go out and take a shot or two and know your stuff's good to go and go out and hunt.
I mean, that's what I do.
Well, that's you. Yes. No, 100% agree. Go get your reps in, learn your shit, make sure you know your equipment. Because
check your tree stands, check your tree stand harnesses, check, make sure that this stuff's working, man. Safety, safety, safety.
100%. Can't say it enough. That being said, though, what do you say we roll right into this thing?
Let's go see him.
All right. Let's bring up Chris Mann.
Let's go.
Nice shot.
Here comes a shooter. Shooter. Big buck.
Stacked.
All right, we're back on the phone with Chris from the West Coast. What's up, Chris?
What's going on, guys? How are you?
We're doing all right.
We're hanging in. That's to say the least.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. You guys bored yet?
No.
No. we stay plenty busy. All of this chaos and whatnot has just given us a reason to have to spend more time outdoors.
Perfect.
So, Chris, man, why don't we put this drive, turn this key, and get this drive underway? Why don't you tell everybody who you are, where you're from, and what you do?
Yeah, my name's I'm Chris Mann. I'm from Washington State. I hunt, guide, outfit, film, pretty much anything outdoor related. Mostly with veterans, first responders, terminally ill kids and stuff. So I do a lot of taking them on trips around the country.
Wow, that's awesome, man. Thank you for your service, by the way.
Definitely. Another devil dog.
Yeah, long time. About 100 pounds ago.
I feel you there, brother. I feel you there.
Was it beer induced?
Honestly, I think it was just refusal to ever do cardio again.
Is that what it is?
100%.
Like, they're like, oh, hey, we need you to run. I'm like,
I did enough of that. Yeah, I feel your pain.
Yeah.
Once you are forced to do it for that long, you do not want to do it again for pleasure.
Exactly. If I'm running, it means I'm chasing something or running for my life. That's it.
Well said. Well said.
Well, I know to hunt with you because hopefully I can get away a little faster than if you haven't done cardio.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So what exactly do you do? Like, are you part of a group or something that does with the first responders and veterans and so on and so forth, or you just do it on your own?
A little bit of both. So it started out, I was just doing it on my own. And then through social media and stuff, I linked up with Ryan Bodwin, and we kind of started talking, and we kind of had the same goals that we wanted to do. And he was doing trips and I was doing trips. So we figured, it's might as well just combine forces and, helps get more people out. And so then we linked up with a guy named Rob Anthony, and he has a nonprofit called High Point Adventures. And Rob's not a vet, but he's just got that heart of service to give back. And so, he was pretty much on board to just totally fund the adventures me and Ryan wanted to go on and take guys on. And he's just been a great backbone and a big support with, ensuring that me and Ryan can get these trips done.
That's awesome. You got to have that background or that backing, that support, because as anyone that's out there hunting knows that doing it even for yourself isn't cheap. So to do it for a group of 2 to 4 guys in an out-of-state scenario for either big game or duck or fishing or whatever you want to do, it's not a cheap ordeal. So that's awesome that he stepped up to the plate.
Yeah, I mean, he's a great guy, and his son's in the Army now, and he's a houndsman in Colorado. So I mean, he runs his hounds on bears and cougars, and that's kind of how Ryan and him met. And now every year he does a Purple Heart mountain lion hunt. So we pick and we vet a Purple Heart recipient to go out to Colorado for a week, and Ryan, myself, or one of us is there to film it, and so it's a pretty good time.
Awesome.
So you're the guy behind the lens at that point?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, me and Ryan, we're just there to tell the stories.
Nice.
It's so awesome, man. It's so incredible that you would do something like that, and especially being both of you guys are veterans yourselves.
Yeah, both of us were in the Marines, and so I mean we have that in common, and I love being behind the camera. I mean, I don't mind being in front of a camera, but I would prefer to be behind it and just create the memory versus be the memory.
Agreed. I'm with you. But at the same time, what you guys are doing, I've done some similar stuff out here on the East Coast, and being able to take vets out and try to help them reconnect and kind of reground themselves in this world is almost unique.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've been a big advocate for like the idea of like the wilderness therapy and, unplugging from the daily grind, lose service, disappear in the woods, get some fresh air. And I mean, it was a big help for me. It was when I got out of the service, I was spiraling, and, my dad saw it and he was like, are you hunting this year? I was like, no. And then eventually he's like, yes, you are. Let's go. And it was like the light switch clipped and, just new life.
See, so that goes to prove that no matter how old you are, that's parenting done right.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, and that's the great part is like my dad, he taught me how to hunt and has been there, and I would come home on leave, and we still to this day travel. He's actually coming to film my elk hunt in Idaho this year. He didn't draw the tag, but I did. And so
awesome.
He's going to come in for 7 days with me backcountry and film and just be there. And then when I called him and said, hey, I'm putting him for a Wyoming antelope tag, you should do it. He put in, and we ended up both getting drawn, and so that'll be a really fun trip. And I just was there last weekend visiting him and helping him set his trail cameras up for his elk hunt that he's got in Washington. So
heck yeah, man.
So did you grow up in a hunting family? Like, is that where it all started for you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, my grandfather worked. My grandfather was a bow maker for years for Howitt Archery in Washington here, and they eventually got bought out by Martin. But my grandfather designed a recurve called the Super Diablo, and it's, I guess, in the trad world, it's still kind of the cream of the crop for older bows. But yeah. They were all archery family, hunting family. My dad's hunted forever, and it just kind of came second nature, I guess.
Wow, that's incredible, man. So how old were you when you had started hunting with your family?
So I started going with my dad. I did hunter's ed when I was like, 10 years old. And then, I hunted off and on with him, a little bit of waterfowl, a little bit of deer. And then when I joined the military, I kind of got away from it minus like I was able to come home for like 2 hunting seasons, like pretty much like a week at a time over the 8-year period. So it wasn't a ton when I was in the service, but then as soon as I got out, it's been, the new addiction pretty much.
That's awesome, man. And obviously that's kind of what's helped you out, kind of get through what you've gone through with the military. From what you were saying.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And I got linked up with a different nonprofit years ago, and their whole mission is just taking vets on hunting and fishing trips throughout the country. And so they do that. And that was kind of like, and then I started guiding for a few outfitters and realized like I want to do more. And so that's just kind of where it came from.
That's so awesome because as you guys know, the veterans just aren't treated properly when they do come home. It's obviously getting a little bit better, but like groups like that and nonprofits that really help them out. It's you guys know, it's an incredible thing to see it.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's fun to be involved in.
Oh, completely, and it's fulfilling, especially when you're not the shooter, like you said, not the guy in the camera being the memory. Last year, when I think it was Hurricane Irene came up the East Coast, right at the tail end of it, I was fortunate enough. I actually got to take a blind vet from Walter Reed up to the Eastern Shore of Maryland and take him dove hunting. And believe it or not, blind vet knocked down 3 doves in a hurricane. It was incredible.
Yeah, that's crazy. I can see fully and can barely hit a dove.
You aren't lying. I'm trying to get Trev down here to try to experience it. He's never done it, so.
It's, little flying jalapeno poppers.
That is by far the best description I've ever heard. I love it.
We have to use that as the graphic right there. That's it, Steve.
Yep.
Yeah, just a giant jalapeno popper flying.
The flying jalapeno. That's all I'm going to think about forever while I'm hunting. I'm going to be like, oh, it's a big, giant flying jalapeno popper.
Seriously, you'll shoot one and go, well, there's not much meat, but I can make a jalapeno popper out of it.
I love it.
So you have a couple of big hunts planned this season.
Yeah, it's about to be a busy year. Like I said, we just got back from Texas. Me and Ryan went down for 8 days, and I filmed his bison hunt. And then we were lucky enough to get our hands on some pulsar optics, and we did some thermal hog hunting and ran down and did some hog dogging down in southern Texas. And so those videos are slowly being released and stuff. And next week, the first episode of the hog hunting comes out for the hog dogs. And then so it was a nice little like tune up before this season. Pretty much September 1st starts. It's on the road, running and gunning until mid-November, and then I'll trade out the bow and muzzleloader for a shotgun
for shooting waterfowl.
Oh yeah. And
here Trev goes.
Yep. No, yeah. It's so what, why don't we go through some of the hunts that you get to do this season and kind of some of the things that you're doing and how you have your season planned out.
Okay. So I've got elk and deer in Idaho. So the deer starts September 1st with archery. And so I'll probably do like 2 weeks of, chasing whitetails around here. And then the 18th of September, I was lucky enough to get my hands on it's a Sawtooth Wilderness elk tag. And it's not a draw tag, but it's a first come, first serve. And the tag sold out in about 51 seconds this year. Yeah, so me and my dad were both sitting right next to each other, and we both clicked buy, and he didn't get it, but I did. And so so it's a limited, not a limited entry, but they call it a capped quota unit. So they only allow X amount of hunters in there for the entire year. And so that's a really, really huge one that is going to, I mean, I ended up contacting an outfitter, and we're having them horseback us in and then drop us off in so they've kind of done all the real legwork, and they're going to put us up in a decent area where it should produce a nice bull.
Yeah, I was going to say, so we were talking earlier about how much we don't like cardio. And then you turn around and tell me you've got an elk tag in the Sawtooth. That's not easy terrain.
No, it's definitely not. I've been now that the gyms are finally starting to open up around here, I've been hitting the stair stepper with my weighted pack all week, and
there you go.
Just trying to get my legs right.
So yeah, curious from where you're at on the Oregon, correct? No, Washington.
I'm pretty much like the corner of Oregon, Idaho, and Washington. I'm like right there.
Oh, okay. I was going to ask about the elevation change. So from there to the Sawtooth is still quite a big difference.
Yeah, so I'm up on like an upper plateau, but for the most part, it's going to be a couple 1,000-foot difference.
Nice. Yeah, and like we keep telling everyone that listens over here on the East Coast that, until you get out there and experience what that elevation can do, it's hard to put into words what, I mean, it can kick your ass, flat out. Elevation will
absolutely
kick your ass, even if you're in shape.
That thin air and carrying extra weight and, and then just that fresh air.
It's just hard to put into words. It really is.
It really is. Unless you experience it. I mean, I've been smoked on mountains before where it's just like, oh, I can't breathe.
So, do you do any breathing training when it comes to that? Because I know like some people they use like
the elevation masks and all of that crazy shit.
No, I'm far too unintelligent to know the science behind that.
Yeah. I'll tell you, there's nothing.
Let me go walk in the woods.
Yeah, there's nothing more annoying than going into the gym and watching these dopes put on an elevation mask and get on a treadmill and bust their ass for half an hour and get off and then take their mask off and think it's going to make an instant difference when they get there, because half an hour is not going to do it. You need 2 days.
Hours. Yeah, hours. Keep wearing it.
It just kind of, it's counterproductive in my opinion. I've tried them, and it doesn't work unless you are literally wearing it long enough to acclimate to that low amount of air.
Yeah.
So are you bringing the bow with you on that hunt to Sawtooth? Yeah,
so that's an archery hunt. So I'll be back there for 8 days. My dad has a deer tag, and I'll have a deer tag in my hand too. So he's going to bring his bow just in case. I mean, if we see a nice buck, I have no problem taking a day off of elk hunting to go help him try to get a deer, especially because he's still paying for the outfitter to horseback us. For him, he's paying his way in. And so, I mean, he's out far more money, for not having a tag.
Right.
And then I'm trying to talk him into bringing his rifle as well, because bear and wolf is open in there as well. So we're kind of playing the weight game and making sure, if we can get the rifle in, we're gonna. If not, we're just gonna take bows in.
Gotcha.
That's awesome. Have you done this hunt before here, or?
No, I've never even stepped foot in the Sawtooths.
You're gonna have a good time.
Yeah, I'm gonna get smoked. It's about 6.5 hours south of me, and so I mean, I hunted Idaho and I've hunted some steep hills in the past few years, but it was like we looked at it and we're like, let's just do it. Let's just try to get one of these tags. And originally there was 4 of us going in to try to get it, and I was the only one who got it, and so the other 2 backed out and said it's just not worth the money. And I agree, it's not. To not have a tag, there's no point in going in there. My dad's just, he loves it. And so, and I told him, I said, do not feel obligated. I'll go in solo. It doesn't even bother me, but he's all about it. So it'll be fun.
Nice. So
and it's your dad.
Yeah. Well, one question.
Yeah, exactly.
So like when you go backcountry, you're going, of course, you're going to be out of service. You're going to be in some pretty remote areas, really remote areas, and some of the other. Since you're doing a drop camp, we'll say. Do you guys do anything, like using a spot or a Garmin InReach or any kind of emergency signaling?
Yeah, so pretty much what we've kind of established with, I've got the Garmin InReach with a few minutes on it, but we've kind of made a deal. The outfitter's going to come in every third day and just check on us. And,
Okay.
That's pretty much going to be it. If I was going in solo, I'd probably go in with a Garmin with a ton of minutes on it, but we're just kind of just winging it. Get dropped off, he'll leave, and then we'll start hunting for the next handful of days.
Yeah, the big reason I ask is, of course, the Sawtooths are renowned for their Sasquatch encounters.
Right, exactly. Well, and the nice part is I'm going to have nice camera equipment, so there will not be any blurry photos if he shows up.
No, see, and that's the thing, and I'm sold on this theory. It's not that the photos are blurry. Sasquatch is just blurry. That's just it. He's blurry.
He's just pixelated.
I had to. Sorry.
Well, can we go into the Garmin InReach for just 1 second? Because it's something I just learned about. I didn't realize exactly what it was and how it actually worked. And I think that it's something that maybe should be talked about for 2 seconds, just so that people kind of understand what it is and how it works. Do you just kind of want to explain it?
Yeah, so I mean, basically, I bought it for this hunt. So I'm brand new to it as well. But for the most part, it's a GPS satellite cell phone that I can text coordinates to people's actual cell phones. And then I think I have like 12 minutes on it. So, I mean, I don't have much. You can buy plans accordingly. So, I mean, guys that go, Alaska, caribou, like the caribou guides, they have probably 2 hours. But I mean, it runs I think it's $12 a minute. So I mean, it's not cheap to have the minutes.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's if you're back there, it can be the difference between life and death, and it's the ability to have some way of contacting.
So we actually use them offshore, and I didn't even know this is how I learned about them. One of the captains that we fish with, he actually has one. And he does, I think it's like $25 a month, and you get X amount of minutes, and then he can text back home, just checking in, just saying, I'm doing okay or whatever, and it'll actually send the latitude and longitude as to where you are.
Exactly.
Right. So you can, when we had gotten our fish this week, he had just texted home and just told his dad, all right, we got one, we're headed in, we're safe, and then just kept doing on what he was doing. But it's just an extra tool to have, especially for a lot of guys that go up into the wilderness, to have something to be able to contact home that, hey, I am okay. Or, if the wife is asking about you, because you hear all these stories of guys that go into the woods and, they'll call for a search party or whatever if something goes wrong, and they don't have to do that no more. Now you can just text home and just say, hey, I'm all right. Everything's okay.
See, that makes me laugh, Trev, because when we were talking to Kurt, that's what he was using in Oregon for his bear hunt.
Yeah.
And you just figured out that's what he was talking about?
No. That's where I had learned it. That's where I had learned about it. And then two of the captains.
I'm just busting your balls.
No, I know. But then two of the captains that I was with, they had it too.
So, no, it's funny because I hadn't actually thought about that on the sea. I honestly didn't. So it's a good learning point for both of us. That means you're going to have one up this weekend, right?
Yeah, I'm hoping. We're not going offshore like that, but no. But when Chris was talking about it, I'm like, we haven't talked about it on the show, so it was just, I thought it would just be a good moment to talk about it, just so people kind of understood, especially if people, it's something new out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great tool to have. I mean, by all means, it's not cheap, but if you're, is it? In my opinion, is it worth your life? I'd rather have one and not need it than need it and not have it.
Right. Exactly. Redundancies.
So when you're planning for these trips, I mean, talking about gear and stuff, is there certain things that you have to have with you, or how do you go about picking up what you need to go on different hunts? Because you do just you just did Texas, you're gonna do an elk hunt, you got just a lot of hunts planned. So like what do you go through to get ready for these hunts? Like what kind of gear do you bring? What kind of stuff do you have to
So
have?
I have my basic stuff that is always laid out in Ziploc bags. So I've got like my first aid kits, my skinning kits, my bags. They're all in. I vac seal them so that way they take up even less room. And then from there, about 5 to 7 days before the hunt, I lay everything out in my. I converted like my second bedroom to a studio, an editing room, and gear closet, and I'll just lay it out on the floor, and do my don't need it, might need it piles, and whatever fits goes kind of thing.
And then bringing camera gear on top of it must really mess you up.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing is I'm kind of glad that I'm my dad's coming in so I could pawn off some of the camera gear to him. But yeah, I mean, luckily I've got the multiple heads for my tripod, so it can take a camera, it can take a spotting scope, so that one item serves 3 purposes. And it also my tripod, I can unscrew a leg and it converts to a monopod for when we're out hunting and stuff. Extra batteries, a ton of SIM cards. So what I'll do is I have I guess they kind of look like drug dealer baggies, like the thin Ziploc bags, like
Yep.
pretty much can hold a little bag of weed, and I'll label it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and I'll put a camera battery and a SIM card in it, and then it goes back in that bag and so that every single day is a new SIM card and a new battery.
Wow, that's so smart. So then when you get home, and it makes editing a lot easier.
Exactly, yeah, and especially with this, I mean, I'll probably be doing day-to-day. I'll probably do a day-to-day release on. I mean, pending on if I end up going in and tagging out on day one, which, I've told myself if it's 320 and up, I'll try to fling an arrow, but I'm gonna gradually loosen up my standards as the week goes on. So, I mean, if I tag out day one, it's just gonna be one video and then a whole bunch of me sitting around a camp waiting for the guide to come back and pick me up.
Right. No, that's awesome.
Well, hopefully your dad can be able to bring a rifle too and be able to take something while you're there
Or
also.
something, yeah, definitely. And that's and it'll be fun. We're gonna, with the horses, we're gonna bring in like a mini block target and stuff like that. We've kind of been sitting down and planning what are the needs, and then what are the luxury items that we're gonna be able to take in.
Oh shit, that's awesome, man.
See, now, and looking back, I think that's actually a very key point. I kind of want to point that out to a lot of the DIYers, self-filmers, things like that, is what you just talked about, having a card and a battery for each day, charged, ready to go, and a clear SD card. That's almost vital, and you don't think about it because there is nothing more annoying than be out filming and either your battery dies or you get that ominous no more memory on the card message.
Yeah, it's the worst. That's literally the worst feeling ever, is SD card full or battery dies, and that's of course when something good will happen.
Exactly. Yeah, and anyone in the self-filming world or anyone in the production world has run into that. And it's, me personally, it's the most annoying thing in the world because you kick yourself in the ass knowing I should have planned better. And two, when it happens, like you said, that's when the good stuff all happens, when you don't have the camera.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, I've learned from that. And I'm still fairly new to filming and editing. Like, this has kind of been a new hobby in the past year and a half. So, I mean, it was a crash course real quick, like getting out there and forgetting, last year I tried to self-film my mule deer hunt and I forgot the wrong lens and I forgot my my external microphone, and so I mean the footage was just rough.
So you're running a DSLR?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean it's I like the camcorder idea, but I enjoy the ability to take really crisp pictures and then film at the same time.
I'm with you. I'm 100% with you. I run one of each. Big fan of the DSLR footage over camcorder footage personally, but the camcorder does come in handy for certain, compositions and different types of filming, like you want that really good zoom or
exactly that smooth zoom versus kind of the rigidy roll.
Yeah. And that inner camera gimbal, as opposed to actually trying to carry a gimbal through the woods, that extra weight. So yeah, I'm with you there.
Yeah.
So with what made you get into the whole self-filming, recording? Obviously, because you record for the veterans also when you're on those hunts, or the people that you also take out. But what made you get into it? Like, why? What was like, I'm gonna do this?
A lot of it, honestly, it stemmed from. So it kind of came up one day. I was salmon fishing just in a local creek outside my hometown, and this guy was just standing there, and he hooked up a really nice king from the shore, and I just flipped my cell phone out and started recording it. And I recorded the whole thing on just a cell phone. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to make you a video. And so I went home and I edited and played with it, and was like, man, this is a lot of fun. And then one of the guides and the outfitters that I'm very good friends with, Orrin Jensen, he owns Tanglewood Guides up here in Washington. He films a lot, and he talked me into get some film equipment, and then I would start filming clients and stuff like that, and then editing and learning, and it just became a lot of fun because it was, even though I'm not hunting, I have to live in this 4-inch screen and make sure it's perfect. So you can't just slack off and sit in a blind.
Right. The shooter gets to shoot it one time. You have to shoot it the entire time.
Exactly. And so it just became a lot of fun. And then, from there, it just kind of kept growing, and I kept just filming and learning and enjoying it. And I enjoy sitting at home. I'll get home and like sit there for like 4.5 hours and just edit and then delete it because I don't like it. But it was like, oh, that was still fun. It's almost like therapeutic.
No, I know exactly what you mean. We did, Trev came down for a turkey hunt here in April, and we'd get done. We'd come in, they'd be changing and getting set up, because you can only hunt till noon here. And first thing I did is I was dropping SD cards, uploading everything and dropping everything into Adobe and playing with it and teasing it. And they'd walk in, they're like, "Oh, you're on it." And I'm like, "No, it's fun. I'm literally doing it because it's fun."
Yeah, and then that was the fun part with Ryan, because Ryan's filmed for a long time. So I'll reach out to him and say, "Hey, what do you think of this? Give me your feedback on that." And he does. And he'll give me honest feedback. And it helps me get better, but it's funny is like as soon as the hunt's over, me and him are geeking out. We've got everything plugged into our laptops. We're swapping cards with each other, and
oh yeah, there's nothing more exciting to a filmmaker than knowing you may have an incredible shot on the SD card. You just can't wait to see how it came out.
Exactly. And that's, with the videos that we got in Texas, it's going to be incredible because we took the pulsars and filmed hog dogging with the pulsars.
Wow. That's gonna be badass.
it's going to be incredible. So it's actually Ryan's cutting the first. I cut the first video for thermal hunting with the rifles, and so that one dropped on this past Thursday.
Right.
On my YouTube, and this coming Wednesday, I believe Ryan's going to drop the first half of the hog dogging, and then the following week after that, I'll drop my edit. So we run the same exact footage, but then you see two different editing styles, and so you get kind of two different views of what happened in this hunt, and it's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, that's really gonna be cool. I look forward to seeing it because, like you said, you kind of geek out and you go, okay, I like this style, or I like this style, or put that cut here, do an L cut here or a J cut there, and then the next guy does it completely different. You're like, I kind of like that better. And it really gives you that creation thought process for your next video. It's like, okay, I'm going to steal that and do that.
Yeah,
So.
exactly. And that's, and that's the fun part about like Ryan's style. He's the storyteller. He's the talk about it, use, elegant words, introductions, boom, 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 action, talk about the action. Whereas I'm more we'll call it like the documentary vlog, show the good, the bad, and the ugly. I mean, I've got videos where I'm laying on the ground panting for air, filming myself because, that's
Reality.
the stuff that, yeah, exactly. So, it's fun. And then, but I pull things that Ryan's done and I'll use some of it, like the introductory stuff to the videos and stuff. I like that, he had that, a green screen and his logo. So I've started kind of adapting that into, my introductions to the videos as well.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm going to have to definitely sit down and put them side by side. I want to see the different perspectives, and I'm not going to lie, I'm probably going to steal stuff off of you guys.
By all means, man. I mean, you'll probably be stealing more off of him, but that's
No, see, I'm going to 100% disagree with that statement, strictly for the fact that I don't think I've ever come across a creative thought process that doesn't have something unique that no one else does.
Yeah, that's true. Because I mean, I sit there and I'll just turn YouTube on and randomly search something, a bear hunt, and see how guys are shooting it. What are they doing? What's getting received well, what's not, and it's been gradually. I'm still learning. By all means, I'm still learning. I think I've done 30 films maybe on YouTube.
Right.
Some better than others.
Which is still pretty good. Most people give up by then.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a lot in a year and a half.
Yeah, that's pretty damn good.
Yeah, it is. It's just YouTube's a hard cookie to crack because a lot of guys will, you can post something on our Instagram and it gets really well received, and then you look over and you're like, okay, are they gonna? Nope, they actually didn't go check it out on YouTube at all, kind of thing. So it's really playing the social media games really taxing on your emotions because you put it out and it's you're getting 1,000 views on Instagram and you're like, great, that means my YouTube's got to be, I have 52 views on this YouTube video. Okay, great.
Yep.
Or people don't want to subscribe because they don't know their login, kind of thing. So it's a very interesting game to play.
Yeah, and that's definitely, so we've been kind of diving into the YouTube end of things recently and trying to pick some of that up as well. And one thing that I've actually found very useful is I'll look at hunting videos and go, okay, this is kind of the standard, this is the norm. The highly viewed stuff does it this way, the less viewed stuff does it this way. And then I'll look at a complete opposite end of the spectrum. I'll look at like Peter McKinnon or something like that and look at what, street photographers, street videographers, people like that are doing that's well received, and try to find that junction and go, how can I bring what they're doing over to the hunting industry?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's, my biggest thing is my kind of goal this year was to add a little bit more cinematic feel. So like in Texas, I took a drone down and just adding, a few drone aerial footages and, just stuff like that. I've taken it from, Jason Metzinger I love his video style. He tells a story, he gets the action shots, but then he also has this amazing, beautiful, captivating B-roll that you're just like, wow, that was really nice.
Yep. And that's one thing that it was hard for me to grasp, and Trev can attest to this because it drives him up the wall when we do videos, is when you realize you almost need as much B-roll as you do your base film. And I'll be like, no, dude, I need you to walk this way. I need you to get this angle, get this view. No, let's reshoot it this way. And they're like, what the hell are you doing? And then when you put it all together, it really finally tells that story, and then it clicks.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. And that's, and it's funny because me and Ryan are the same way, and we operate on the same functions, like that same exact thing. If he's like, do it again, or I'll be like, say that again, kind of thing, like same thing. Because very rarely you get everything you want on a first take.
Oh,
very
yeah.
rarely.
It's rare.
With the exception of the kill shot. You better get that on the first take.
Yeah. You can't make that up.
Yeah.
You can't fake that one. I've tried. It doesn't always look great.
It always sells as, okay, they recreated that.
Yep, I've got one video where I had a client, he smoked this mule deer, but the mule deer went behind, from the angle that the camera was at versus the angle the shooter was at, and we were 4 feet apart, and there was a tree, and so you hear the flap, the buck jump, but you cannot see and so it's like, okay, so now I got to go and recut this footage and make it and then fade to black with the sound of the schwap, and it's like you know that I missed the kill shot on the camera.
Ugh.
Yeah, but seeing that's one thing with me is at the end of the day, if you've got the shot, I'm still a firm believer of take the shot and we'll work through it. It's almost annoying watching people pass on what I would consider a trophy or even a great animal in general, and they'll go, well, we didn't have it in view. And I'm going, who cares?
Yeah. I'm the same way. My whole thing is I'm a guide first and a film guy second.
Yes.
So if I can get it, and I'll do my due diligence to get the camera rolling on it, everything. But if you've got the shot, take it. And you don't know if you're going to get another chance at another buck. I've had clients even them brush off. Oh no, I'm waiting for bigger. Okay, so I'll sit there and film this deer for an hour while it's moseying around us, and then they don't see another deer the rest of this trip, and it's like,
yep,
you had your chance.
Yep, exactly. So
and especially with the veterans. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, with the veterans and the kids and so on and so forth, like there is no other option to, you have to get that on film right off the bat, like because they might not have a hunt like that ever again.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the biggest thing is what I've noticed is like paying clients. They're a lot more picky, but when we do like a vet hunt or a terminally ill kid, they're just so excited, and that's half of it is as soon as the shot's done, I'm boom right on their face because that raw joy and emotion is and that's I try to put that, if I get that shot, I put it in every single video, is the smiles, the the heavy breathing, the adrenaline rush. You can't fake it.
Right. No. Exactly.
The organic of it is just incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a lot of people. So I solo filmed my bear hunt this spring with a bow. So I took a bear with a bow and was self-filming from a tree stand. So I bought this little clip that mounted, it was just, it's rough, but it ended up working. But as soon as I shot that bear, you can hear my exhale, just a hard, and then I grabbed the camera and just started, just let me talk through this emotion. And you can't fake it. I couldn't fake it if I tried.
You get me all pumped up, man, for season. Like I need to kill something like now. Oh, that's nuts. It's what I would have to ask. Like
I've been lucky with this spring. And what were you saying?
Oh no. Go ahead with this spring.
Oh, I was just saying I got really lucky this spring. I had a bear bait barrel in Idaho, and the COVID shut us down for the first half of the season, so non-residents weren't allowed to go into Idaho and hunt if you didn't have your tag already. Well, I kind of slept on my tag, didn't buy it, and then missed the opportunity, and so I had to wait an extra month before they're like, okay, non-residents can hunt now. But I kept my bait barrel hot, so I would still go up and I would bait it and all that. And so it was like, I think I did 3 sits before I had, it wasn't, it was my first bear, so I was ecstatic about that. It wasn't necessarily a giant bear, but it was all the hard work kind of came into that full circle. And so it was a fun spring.
Awesome. That's awesome. So going back with with like the organic like emotion and stuff. What was like one of the craziest hunts that you've been on with somebody where they've just like it was just really touched home?
Yeah. So, well, that same one where I actually missed, I didn't get the kill shot. It was a late season archery, and I was up filming and guiding for Oren, and the client's name is Eric, and he was in the Army too at one point. So, or not also, but he was in the Army, and so it was cool to sit with him for about 4 days in a blind. I mean, 1.5 feet snow, just kind of waiting for these migratory mule deer to come through. And he'd seen one trail cam picture that Oren showed him, and it was this crazy giant big bodied mule deer with a really freaky rack. It almost looked like a Triton.
Nice.
Like he was a fork. He was just a big giant fork, but in the middle of the fork there was that third spike. So I mean, it looked like Poseidon's Triton. And he kept saying, he's like, that's the buck I want. And I mean, we sat there the first day, had this beautiful symmetrical 3x3. He was at full draw for probably 45 seconds, and he said, no, I really want this buck. And so, the next day we sat and nothing came in. I called Oren. I said, hey, you guys are seeing that buck over here. Let's switch up blinds. He wants to take this buck. Your client's passed on him 2 days in a row. My guy will shoot him the first minute we see him. And we got in that blind at, probably 5:30 in the morning. It was still dark. And the minute you could barely see sunrise, like barely see, that buck was walking in front of us. And he smoked him, and his raw emotion, I mean, you could see like his eyes are almost like, it's like he's trying to hold tears, but not. I mean, he's just breathing hard. And I filmed the shot, got the deer falling, and then zoomed on him, and you can just see, I mean, he's just panting with just adrenaline. It was super cool to see.
Awesome. Yeah, you can't replicate that. You really can't. And
no,
especially someone in his situation where this is, never thought you would be in that situation, and there it is. I mean, that is
exactly. That was the buck he wanted. Yeah, that was the buck he wanted. I mean, he booked it out, and it was, I think we had like another day, but that was, it was a real quick morning especially after not seeing a deer for the entire second day, just sitting there, in a blind in a, -5-degree weather, just sitting there. It was taxing emotionally. And then for him to get the opportunity in that blind that was kind of more frequented with that big buck, it paid off.
That's incredible, though, that you do something like that. Like, I say it all the time, man. Like when we had Ryan on and so on and so forth, like that you get to experience something like that with somebody, and it means, like, I guess we kind of take a lot of that stuff for granted.
Yeah, definitely. No, and that's, it was hard at first, because I'm more a spot and stock guy. I detest sitting in a blind, sitting in a tree stand. I cannot do it. I get really bored real quick. But this was, when Oren called, if he has more clients than guides, he knows he can drop a call and I'll be there. So the hunt started the morning after Thanksgiving that year. So, I mean, I came into town, had Thanksgiving with my family, and we ate, and I got on the road and headed north. It's about a 3-hour drive, and I showed up at the ranch house. The hunters were already there, and showed up, introduced myself. We all, started having beers, and then the next morning it was off to hunt.
That's awesome. So you get deer camp all the time.
Yeah, for the most part, up there at least. I mean, with my own hunting, I try to get it done as fast as possible. Mm-hmm. I don't need the experience. I just want to go out, get a deer, so I can get back to either taking clients, filming vets, stuff like that. So like this past year, I shot my muzzleloader. I shot my mule deer 46 minutes after opening light, and was done, and back to worrying about clients and trying to make them, get everything.
See, that's kind of funny is like when we had talked with Ryan a couple weeks ago, he was doing the same. That's why he ended up going to Texas to get the buffalo, was because he gets so indulged with taking out clients and veterans and terminally ill that he doesn't get a lot to put meat in the freezer.
Yeah, and that's, we both accept that your trigger time is going to get cut. It's just kind of the name of the game. And it was fun to get down there and for him to be the shooter and him to, he's still worried about the camera angles and stuff, but he kind of knew that I, for the most part, could handle it.
Right.
So he could focus more on just his own hunt and everything like that. So it was fun for him to get kind of the treatment for once, because he's put on a lot of hunts. I've been on some that he's put together and not even been able to attend.
Wow. So how did it go down in Texas?
It was fun. The first day, and I kind of documented the first day. I put out a video just because, like I said, I'm going to show you the good, the bad, and the ugly. And it was literally showing up from the airport, driving, and eating barbecue. That was day one. And we flew into San Antonio. So the original plan was we were going to hunt down near San Antonio. And Blake Marshall, the outfitter that we were going through, and we, Ryan and him have been friends for years. And, I'm new to meeting him, but we've stayed in touch since. So he owns King of Eights Outfitters. He locked on a contract with a really big ranch up near Dallas. And so he's the first outfitter they've ever allowed to do hunts on their property. And so we were kind of his maiden voyage, and we went up and we filmed a bunch of stuff for the ranch just as advertising and stuff. But so we had all our flights were into San Antonio, so Blake had to pick us up, and then we drove 6.5 hours north. That was day one, was just getting up there.
Wow. That's crazy.
And then it was. It was fun. It was, it's part of the adventure. And then day two, we woke Ryan up with a nice wake up call. I think we went to bed at like 2, and me and Blake were up at 5 drinking coffee, and we woke Ryan up about 5:45, and we're like, all right, let's go. And it was just from pretty much 5. I think the bison was down at probably 10. That day, and it was, and then it probably another 4 hours of us just skinning, caping, butchering, deboning, and getting everything ready, and then, filming all that, and just three guys dismantling a 2,000-pound animal. It was a lot of work that day, and then day 3 they took the meat to Dallas, which was about a 45-minute drive to a packaging plant so they could butcher it for Ryan. And I sat around the ranch and, flew aerial stuff and just did a lot of B-roll. And then that night, without any sleep, I think in 5 days at that ranch, or 4 days, I think we slept 9 hours total. Because it was, as soon as it got dark, we put the pulsars on the rifles and we were out hog hunting. And then we would hunt until sun up, and then maybe take a nap for a little bit, and then go back out and try to, hunt some other things. So it was a grind. And then when we finished with that ranch, me and Ryan got a rental car, and we headed down to a town called Dilley, Texas, which is about 30 minutes outside of Laredo, right at the Mexican border there. And that's where we met up with some other guys, and we started running dogs for the next 2 days. So it was a crazy adventure.
So you've started the season off right then, it sounds like.
Yeah, I exhausted myself, so now I know I can work on no sleep.
Yep, exactly. And that it's just the beginning of what's to come for you.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's going to be, between, my dad's got an elk tag in Washington, he's got a cow, he drew a cow hunt. So it's a really good meat hunt in the unit that's right outside the town he lives in. So, I took a vet who drew that tag last year, and we got him his cow on the first day. So it's not a difficult hunt, but it's a nice meat hunt. So we're just trying to, the balancing act begins, with making sure I have enough time to actually do school semi, okay. And then getting all these hunts done and travel and filming, and then getting ready for, as soon as all the big game stuff's done, we go into our veteran duck hunts for the next 3 months.
That's badass. So where are you doing some of your veteran duck hunts?
So we're doing the coast of Maine. We're taking, I think it's 3 or 4 vets to the coast of Maine, and then me and Ryan are going to film. And that's in November. And then in December, he's flying out to Washington, and we're taking 2 vets sea duck hunting off the Washington coast. And then 2 weeks after that, me and Ryan and 4 guys are flying to New York on Lake Ontario, and we're doing it's divers, but on the huge. I've never even probably seen a lake that big, so
yeah, Lake Ontario,
interesting experience.
It's like being on the ocean.
That's what I've heard. I've heard it has its own like tide and stuff.
Oh, it's insane, dude. And like you get the wind. The wind is so bad, like that. Sometimes you get 4, 5, 6 foot waves out there.
Yeah,
do a ton of salmon
crazy
up there, and there's days that you can't even go out. Like I fish for a living, and I've been up there where the lake is worse than the ocean that I work on. It's insane.
Crazy.
But the divers, man, just wait. Have you done it before, like on the big lakes like that, or no?
No, nothing on big lakes. I've done, like I said, I've done the Puget Sound and my little ponds and the rivers that I live off of and stuff. That's pretty much my experience.
Are you guys gonna do like layout boats, or are you doing blinds? Do you know?
I think in New York we're doing layout boats and a tender boat.
Oh yeah.
And then on Maine, it's kind of weather pending, but we're gonna try to do both. We're gonna hunt from blinds and
layouts.
And the layouts.
Have you done layouts before? Like, do you do that? Is that a West Coast thing too, or no?
I know guys that use them. I've never actually done it. I'm a rather large human, so I don't even look good on a kayak or a paddleboard. So I have no desire to lay in a little pod in the middle of the water. But what we do on the Washington coast is we'll anchor the decoys, long line them, and then just set anchor, 20 yards off of them, and they've got little like pop-up blinds and stuff, and we'll just shoot them right out of the boat.
Yeah, see, so we do that also. We hunt out of the boat with long lines, or even we do mats a lot, right out of the boat. But we also lay out boat also. But when you're in the layout boat, it's a totally different ball game. Actually, you would probably know, like you've goose hunted in cornfields, right? Inside the decoys.
Yeah,
So it's one and the same, but you're just in the middle of the water. So, now instead of having a lethargic, big, stupid, dumb goose just come like rig set right into you, you have this tiny little diver duck at like 35 miles an hour just bombing you, and they just want to be in your lap. So like it's the adrenaline, and it's a little bit more intense than just a big lethargic goose coming in on you. So it's fun, dude. It really, honestly is.
It sounds like a good time. I mean, I'll inevitably try it.
Don't be afraid, because I'm a bigger human being also. And being in the layout for the first time is you're a little nervous, but I can stand up in them. I stand up in them, piss off the side. It doesn't matter. They don't move. They don't tip. You don't have to worry about it. It's literally
so they're pretty solid.
Oh, bro, it's like standing on solid ground. Like you don't have to worry about anything, especially depending what kind like I say, a core sound or some of the UFO ones, the big ones. They don't even move. Like literally don't even move. Like you can do anything in them.
That's a bit relieving, because like I said, I sit in a kayak and I fall in. I try to stand up on a 15-foot paddleboard and I'm in the water. It's like me and balance, not friends.
Yeah, I'm the same way, man. Gravity is not on my side, but
no.
You'll be all right in the layout boats, man. I hunt out of them all the time in cold conditions, big waves, and it's a little nerve-wracking at first, but once you get used to it, it's not that bad at all. It's definitely a good time. You'll truly enjoy it, man. Especially hunting New York, where the divers are plentiful in the Great Lakes, and you shoot. I imagine you probably hunting for what, bluebills and redheads.
Most likely. Honestly, I have no idea. I'm going into all these hunts with, me and Ryan we both talked about it, that we're gonna film until those guys are limited, and then we'll get in. you know, if there's time. So we're going solely to film. You know, we're bringing shotguns, but if we don't pull the trigger once, it is what it is. That's, you know, what we signed up for.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that's awesome, man. You'll definitely enjoy it. The East Coast definitely has a lot to offer when it comes to divers and sea ducks and stuff. It's nothing like Washington. You have way better trophy birds there, but it's definitely a good time. I mean, you're gonna do eiders here in Maine, obviously.
Yeah, I think that's the big one, and it's kind of cool. We got reached out to by a guy who takes old crab pot decoys or buoys and turns them into decoys.
Yep.
And
I
so
know exactly.
It's DD Duvall or something is his Instagram, but he's reached out and he's made a set for each one of the vets, so of the eiders, and so that'll be.
Oh, that's badass. I'm jealous.
Yeah, so they're gonna hopefully take home those birds, but they're also gonna be able to take home these, you know, decoys, you know, kind of a memory of their time.
That's awesome, dude. So they not only are they able to shoot an eider, but they're also going to go home with these badass decoys. It's cool that he does those after cycle, the lobster buoys. It's so badass.
The lobster buoys, that's what it is. Yeah, and they're really cool. I mean, he hand paints them, and you know, like some guys would be like, that doesn't look like a decoy. Well, trust me, the birds don't care.
No,
they see a shape.
Well, it's like the longtails. I talk about that all the time and how dumb those birds actually are. Like they'll come into anything. We used to use milk jugs or 2-liter bottles. Like you paint them white.
They just want the color. Exactly. They want the color.
Just a couple of bodies. But it's cool that he does that and he recycles them and reuses them and they actually look really cool. Like I had contacted them. I wanted to buy a couple of them. Just to put them in my man cave because they're just that badass.
Yeah, I like them. I'm pretty excited, and so it's going to be a lot of fun. And you know, like I said, it doesn't cost the vets any money to take it back. Obviously, it's kind of just a memory.
Yeah, for sure. And was that Longline Decoys is the name of the company? Dana Laval.
Dana Laval. That's it. Yeah, DD Duvall.
Yeah.
Duvall.
Yeah, it's Longline Decoys on Instagram there.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's him. He's made them, and I mean, he reached out and was like, I'm, you know, super excited to be involved with you guys with this. So, and we're just really appreciative that, you know, he thought of us and took the time to make these, you know, for the vets.
Yeah, it's so badass, dude. I'm kind of jealous because they're really cool. But it's cool that there's obviously a bunch of people that reach out and want to be part and help you guys out. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we reach out, and then we also get reached out. So I mean, and then utilizing some of the other partner companies that we both work with or have connections with. So I've got a pack company that we're working to kind of prototype a blind bag that I can take, you know, for a couple of these vet hunts to give to the vets and stuff. And, you know, just simple, small ways that they can give back. Usually most of these companies are on board for it.
That's awesome. It's so good to hear that, especially in the outdoor industry, that, you know, that there is people like you and Ryan and companies out there that stand for that shit because, like I said, there's not many, you know. And we've started to do it in the fishing industry. There's a couple of charter boats here where I live here in Connecticut that are working with veterans and taking them out fishing.
Awesome.
Doing that. So it's cool. It's good to know that there's more people out there like-minded.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, the whole thing is like, you know, I've taken guys, you know, hey, I've got this fishing charter. We're going out this year. And then I reach out to them the next year and they're like, oh yeah, I just booked with him, you know, like an actual, like as a paying client this time. So, I mean, it's coming, you know, full circle for these guides that, you know, give up their time and, you know, then they have a customer for life if they have, you know, a good experience.
For sure. Absolutely. All right, man. I got one question for you, Chris, and that is, what drives you outdoors?
What drives my outdoors?
No, what drives you outdoors?
Oh, what drives me outdoors?
Yeah.
Would honestly just being able to turn my phone off, just disconnect from society and enjoy that me time. That, you know, that and my Dodge Ram. That's really what drives me there.
There's always one.
But no, I mean, honestly, just if I can, you know, any way I can really just give back to somebody who might not have that opportunity. You know, if somebody called me and said, hey, I want to go with you, I'm like, pack your bags, let's go. You know, kind of thing. If you're willing to make the time, I will more than happily make the time to take somebody out on a hunt.
I love it, man. I love it. So why don't you tell everybody where they can find you on your social media, your Instagram, YouTube, so on and so forth, so everyone can kind of check you out.
Yeah, it's pretty much all the major social medias. Facebook and Instagram is at High Range Hunting. And YouTube is the same. YouTube, just search High Range Hunting and it'll pop up.
Hell yeah, man. Is there anything that you want to leave the people with?
No, I mean, honestly, just if you like, I'm an open book. So, I mean, if I can help connect you with something or some sort of information you need, by all means. I mean, one thing, I try to do is I answer every comment and every, private message or anything. Like, if you take the time to reach out to me, I'm going to make the time to to respond. If you need anything, I have a plethora of nonprofits pretty much around the country that I can, at least link you up with if you're having any issues. And if you're interested in, trying to get in on some of these hunts, me and Ryan, we post them on our Instagram. Whenever we have them up, we put it out there with, the requirements, and then we go from there. So, I mean, there's constant stuff getting posted up. So, get a hold of us. Let's try to see if we can't link up on something.
Hell yeah, man. I love it, man. And thank you for doing what you're doing.
I appreciate you guys. Thanks for having me on.
Definitely. Well, Chris, again, thanks for giving us your time. It's been a fun ride. We've kind of gone down quite a few different rabbit holes, and I really think a lot of people are going to take a lot away from this. Any vets out there especially, look Ryan up, get in their ears, get some information. This is a great opportunity for you guys to go out and experience the outdoors. And that's what they thrive on, and they're willing to do it. So don't cut yourself short. Get out there and give it a try. And for everybody else out listening, we really want to thank you guys and let you know how much we appreciate you. And thanks for taking the ride right here on the Outdoor Drive.